Hey guys, so we're going to be comparing RPS paintballs. We've got Evil and Marbalizer, as you can see by the orange and green. Both of these are made by RPS and Empire, and they're both considered tournament grade paint. What we're going to be doing is comparing them through several different points through this video. So the first thing we're going to talk about is out of the box. One thing I noticed a lot with Marbalizer paintballs, when you take them out of the box, for some reason there seems to be an oil on them. Your bag, you can kind of see it in the bag. When you take it out, they feel kind of, not greasy, but you know, just that kind of slick kind of feel to them. Whereas the Evil doesn't have that at all when you take it out. To me, I like to have mine looking like it was, you know, nothing on it. To me, sometimes with the Marbalizer, you might think there's paint broken or something like that, and most generally there isn't. I've yet to receive a box that there was, but it just, sometimes every now and then you'll get that just kind of like an oily substance, and I found it's on almost all boxes of Marbalizer I've purchased. Evil, I have not had that problem. The second thing we're going to compare here is the shell, and we're going to go ahead and slide this out and show the shell. Zoom in on it a little bit here. Okay, as you can see here, I've taken these and emptied all the fill out of it. As you can see, the shell itself, and it's pretty hard to see here, but the shells actually seem to be a lot thicker on the Marbalizer and seem to be made almost of a different substance than compared to the Evil. As you can see, the Evil seems to be a lot more brittle, and I've also noticed that with the paint itself, but we'll get onto that in a little bit. The shell, like I said, the Evil seems to be a little bit not quite as thick and a little bit more brittle than Marbalizer. The fill, which we'll bring up here, I've just emptied out here, is very similar. There seems to be a little bit more fill, and this is pretty consistent with all of the stuff I've actually seen here. The fill on the Evil seems to be a lot more kind of, I guess you could say, thick. Seems to be a little bit more in the paint itself than compared to the Marbalizer. As you can see here, there seems to be a lot more of this, and this also Evil seems to be a lot more, I guess you could, not necessarily thick, but gooey, which is always good because you don't want your opponent wiping the paint, but seems to be a little bit more gooey than compared to the Marbalizer. The Marbalizer seems to be a little bit more watery, but it's still so close. I mean, it's pretty hard to tell the difference, but I would say in this part I would give the Evil a thicker fill than the Marbalizer. As far as to spot the fill, both were pretty much really easy to spot. I mean, you can tell when you hit somebody with both of these paints, and they're gonna know it because it's gonna be everywhere. I mean, you take one of these out and throw it on the ground in front of you, you're splattering a good, you know, 6 foot almost radius around that, or excuse me, yeah, about a 3 foot, you know, 6 foot area, I guess you could say, circle. It splatters good. I mean, the paint is gonna be on your opponent. You can't wipe this stuff. It's very thick on both fills, and just very easy to spot when you hit an opponent. Price-wise, I would say here at the local store and online at RPS, their website, or excuse me, Empire's website. I think it's the same on several of the other main retailers, online retailers. The price is the exact same between the two. Just overall, I mean, at my local store it is the exact same price. We pay the exact same amount for Evil or Marbalizer. And so the price, as far as those go, is the same, and it's most likely going to be that way anywhere you buy paint. As far as my personal preference, what I've noticed with both these paints, and like I said, I've used both of these a lot. I've got box after box of Marbalizers in here as far as the Marbalizer boxes, and I've got just as many Evil. I think we pretty much used the exact same for the past 2 years, and basically just switched back and forth whatever was available at our store. And I have to say, basically what I found is Empire, the Marbalizers are more for a woods ball, rec ball kind of scenario, If you play in a wooded area or even a rec ball field, like some places that you can play where it's not necessarily woods ball, but you still got branches and stuff like that, I would go with the Marbalizer for the fact that the shell is a tiny bit thicker, and with that you can actually shoot through brush, or not necessarily brush, but say you fire and there's a little tiny leaf or something in your way. It's not gonna break on the stem or whatever, it kind of sounds dumb, but if you have a tree, you have a branch hanging over, you can shoot basically through that branch as long as it's not too thick with a Marbalizer and still be going on target, still hitting and breaking. But it's not gonna break in that tiny bit of brush or whatever you want to call it. The evil is gonna break. If you hit you hit the opponent, it's gonna break. You hit the tree, it's gonna break. You're gonna hit the branch that just happens to be in your way, it's gonna break. It's gonna break on whatever it hits first, and a lot of times that's good if you're playing speedball, rec ball and stuff, or speedball, tournament, stuff like that. But with more of a woods ball stuff, I would definitely recommend going with the Marbalizer. You're still gonna get a high-end paint. You're still gonna get a lot of, excellent fill. I mean, the opponents, when you hit your opponent, and you can still be able to shoot and still make it through a couple of, minor obstacles, a twig here or whatever you want to call them. The evil is going to break on anything it hits first. I mean, you hit a side of a bunker, most likely is going to break on the bunker. Air bunkers are a little bit different, but if you have a static object, if it nicks the edge of it, it's going to break there. Marbalizer, you might get a tendency to actually hit the corner of something and it bounce just a slight bit, and then break on your opponent or whatever. I've actually done that. It does work, but basically that's the only difference. They both have about the same fill, but the main difference is the shell. The evil has a very, very, very thin shell and is going to break every time with whatever you hit. The Marbalizer is a little bit thicker, so it's going to break on most static objects, but if it's going through a little branch or something like that, it's not going to break on that, so therefore it's going to be better for that. So my recommendation, if you're playing speedball, X-ball, more tournament style play, definitely go with evil paintballs. They are just top of the line and just excellent quality, probably the best paint in my opinion. Though if you're going to play rec ball, woods ball, anything like that, I would definitely recommend Marbalizer, because they do have a little bit thicker shell, and you're going to be able to shoot through, little stuff that might get in your way if you're playing woods ball or something like that. So I definitely recommend both. Both are going to break on your opponent. Both of them, I've never had a chop in my gun. I've had a couple of barrel breaks with bad barrels as far as, just stock stuff, but I've never, with my kit that I've used, I've never broke paint in it. Never broke in the barrel, never broke in the gun, nothing with either of these paints. So they're great paint. They're gonna break on your opponent every time, and you're gonna have a lot of fun using them. So my opinion, again, evil more speedball, rec ball, the Marbalizer more for rec ball and woods ball as far as that goes. So thank you guys for watching. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. I'd love to get those answered for you. And if you are interested in either of these paints, you can go check out my other videos. I've got a review on both of these coming up here soon, so if you guys are viewing this, go check those out if you're interested, and go into a more detailed review on each paint specifically, but this is just a comparison between the two. So thank you guys for watching. I hope this has helped, and y'all have a nice day and get out there and play some paintball.